Hello, so I've made this video for those of you who sit in chairs and those of you who find the squat a difficult position to get into. We can do it as babies and young kids, and then we just don't hang out here very often and we lose the ability. So we'll work on some ankle and hip flexion while keeping the upper chest open. So right now I'm sitting on 2 blocks, and a blanket that you can fold would be super handy. I'm going to come off the blocks for now, and we'll start on our backs with our knees bent. So find the length in the spine and take the knees, draw them in toward the chest. So notice this is squat on your back. So with the knees bent, see if you can draw them a little bit closer to the chest. And then inhale, reach up through the heels. And just take a few circles with the ankles. Switch direction. Wiggle the toes a bit. Shake the legs out. And then point and flex the feet to start. So this deep flexion of the ankle is something we're going to need later. And release that. Inhale here. One more time with the hands behind the knees, and exhale, draw them in toward the chest. So release on the inhale a little, reach up through the heels, shoulders are rested. Exhale, knees drawn in toward the chest. Take this a little wider, so inhale with the heels up and wide, and exhale, knees come toward the shoulders. So one more time here. Reach up through the heels, find space in the knees, and exhale. We're going to try this without hands. It's a little bit more challenging. Inhale, heels come up. Exhale, knees drawing towards the chest. Inhale, open the backs of the legs. And exhale. Try it a little wider. Inhale up. Exhale, knees toward the shoulders. Shoulders are wide. One more time. Inhale. Oh, the legs are shaking. All right. Just rock back and forth once here. Take a little break. And then either hands behind the knees, or if you can reach for the feet without curling the shoulders forward, find your happy bebe. Take the elbows inside the knees, rock back and forth. This does make me happy. And release the feet down to the ground. Just readjust yourself in preparation for a couple of bridges. As much as we need flexion in the hips, we also need a little bit of release in the hip flexors. So inhale, wide shoulders, stand into the feet, lift the pelvis off the ground, and exhale slowly down. Inhale again. Focus on the opening in the hips while keeping the lower back long. Exhale once more. Last time. Inhale. Keep the neck relaxed. Shoulders rested. And roll down. Knees drawing toward the chest. And one more rock back and forth. And rock over to one side. We're going to come around to table. So on your hands and knees. If you like a little padding under your knees like I do, you can use that blanket. And find your neutral spine in this position. So the curve in the neck matches the curve in the low back. We're going to start to rock the hips back toward the heel and a little bit forward. Play around with this a little bit. You can walk the hands forward a little bit and notice as you come back, oh, looks a little bit like squat, just in a different angle. And come forward, beyond the hands, back toward the heel. So this would be child's pose. So if you feel like a break, you can hang out in child's pose, or you can come back up and, bonus points, you can come into a plank. Engage your core, find a little bit more strength in the arms and shoulders. So choose your own adventure. Back to this rocking back and forth. And then we're going to come to our shins. As again, as much as we need that flexion, we also need to open the hip flexors. So you can take the arms forward, come back with the hips toward the heels, and then up in this extended camel. So lifting the chest up, keeping the lower back long, shoulders wide. Exhale, come back, so the toes can be turned under if you like. And try both ways. Inhale up. Exhale, back. A little bit of thigh strength needed here too. One more time, breathe into the chest. The arms come down. And we're going to sit on our little platform, either blocks stacked or books, or you can use your blanket folded up to come into your squat. So this is quite a low squat, so if you need to come up a little higher, just build a bigger platform. So for me, this is fairly comfortable when I'm holding onto my knees. You can try hands lifting, drawing up from the shins toward the knees, releases those super tight hip flexors. As soon as I let go, the feet have to work a little harder to find a little bit more release in the hip flexors. So hands come to the shoulders. We're going to turn this into a bit of a twist. Lift and open through the upper chest. Inhale. Tall through the spine, and exhale, twist in one direction. Keep that length in the spine. As you inhale to center, exhale the other way, and back to center. So if this is too much for you, you can just hang on to your knees, which also helps keep the knees in balance. So sitting up on something like this, you're not twisting in the hips, right? You're going to keep that stable pelvis, knees balanced, twist to one side. Inhale through center, and exhale the other way. And getting some movement in the ribs as well. So you can make your way up to standing at this point, and I'll show you a few more techniques to work on your squat. So right now I have a bolster as my kind of landing pad. You can build up a couple of blankets as well, but with your back against the wall, you can keep the length in the spine and have the arms out front, and then you can slowly slide your way down the wall. Back still supported. Lots of thighs here until you come down and rest in your squat. You can play around with where your feet are, so you move them forward a little bit, might be a little easier for you, and then maybe work on stepping them back just an inch at a time. Still working on drawing up through the feet and up through the shins and knees to release as much as you can in hip flexor See how that feels against the wall. Much more supported. One more for you here using a door frame. So from here, you've got a lot of support and you can kind of hang on and try it with a wider stance as well. Come down. And you can use your arm strength as well to come back up. It's just a different way of practicing. So next up, we will work with a block or books if that's what you have, and we'll meet up in standing. So here we are with a block or your books just next to you, and this is also a great way to practice your ankle flexion just by stepping up on to the side with the balls of your feet and bending into that leg. See how much of a flexion you can get here. So the lower the block or book, the less flexion you need. And then once you've got your little platform there or a low chair or stool, you can come in front of it with the feet hip distance apart. And we're going to draw the hands up, forward, and try a little bit of a high back chair. So play around with the flexion in the ankle and the hips. You can inhale into a standing back bend. And exhale, maybe come a little bit lower. Release the shoulders. Bring a little bounce into this. Doesn't matter how low you come. Inhale, standing back bend once more. Open through the upper chest, lengthen the low back. And then one more time, see if you can come down a little further, and you'll kind of find your tipping point where you need to tip forward. See how long you can stay back, and then maybe come all the way down onto your nice landing. And here you are in squat. You can hang out here for a bit and play around with your hand position. And then the super duper challenge is trying to get up from squat without using your hands. So arms come forward, find the feet. See if you can, with control, start to come up using the thigh muscles. Inhale, standing back bend one more time. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take as much time here as you like. You can hang out and squat or on the ground. Hands over the heart. A little bit of a massage. Connect with your breath. Sending love out to y'all. Namaste.